In Crimewatch tonight, a doorstep molester who preyed on young women in Woodlands. And a heart-tugging housebreaking story involving a mother and her child.
Hi, I'm DSP Teo Ziming. Welcome to Crimewatch. Between January and March of 2009, 12 women in Woodlands were stalked and sexually outraged just as they were about to enter their homes. The attacks were brash and sudden, and in nearly all cases, they happened at night. Watch how the police track down the elusive perpetrator, also dubbed the doorstep molester.
It was about 10 p.m., the usual time Maria, a sales coordinator, would be making her way home from work. It was an evening like any other, except that unknown to her, someone had been watching her. The attack was sudden, and from the way it was carried out, it seemed premeditated. Maria immediately made a report to the police. Norazmin Yap from Jurong Police Division Headquarters was the investigation officer.
From what I remember, he was wearing dark singlet and checkered Bermudas, and he seems young, I think around 20s.
What about his complexion? Dark or fair?
Actually, he's Chinese.
If you were to see him again, can you recognize him?
I think I can.
Maria is our latest victim. She was molested at night. The other victims were Chinese or look like Chinese. They are all staying in Woodlands and they are all wearing short skirts.
All the cases has the similar modus of operandi, which is attacking the victims at their doorsteps.
Looks like we're dealing with a serial doorstep molester.
Yes, I agree. The suspect seems to be wearing the same wardrobe, wearing black singlet and checkered Bermudas. Let's continue to conduct more inquiries on the ground.
As the incidents all occurred in around the same vicinity, I.O. Norazmin and his team carried out checks with residents while at the same time kept a lookout for the suspect.
Hello, good afternoon. The officers from Jurong Police, We'd like to check, have you ever seen a male Chinese wearing black singlet, checkered Bermudas, about 20 over years old?
No.
Okay, thank you.
No one could give any clue as to who he was. The field inquiry was complemented with checks on persons fitting the description given by victims.
Okay, Mr. Chia, thank you so much.
The description of the culprit was also disseminated to other ground forces so that they could also keep a lookout. Someone who usually donned a black singlet and checkered Bermudas when he looked for his prey. Crime advisories were also put up at void decks of flats to notify the public of the molester at large and to remind the public to immediately call 999 should they come across the crime in progress. Female residents were advised to be vigilant and alert. Despite these multi-pronged measures, in less than a month after the last incident, the elusive and bold doorstep molester struck again. This time, he was even more daring and changed his time of attack. He struck in broad daylight. On a fairly crowded Saturday afternoon, Angeline least expected anyone would stalk her. Soon after Angeline had entered the lift, a young man showed up. He first monitored the lift to see at which floor it would stop. In this case, it was the 5th floor. Immediately, he raced up the stairs to catch up with his intended victim. Unknown to him, his presence at the lift landing had been captured on CCTV. Once again, the attack was brash and unexpected. Though she was stunned, Angeline remembered the crime prevention advice and managed to catch a good look at her attacker.
Police?
Angeline, can you describe the person to me?
He was wearing a black singlet and a checkered Bermudas, and I think he's a Chinese.
Did you manage to see his face?
Yes. when he was running down the stairs.
If you were to see him again, can you recognize him?
Yes.
After the break, the police put a stop to the doorstep molester.
All MRT stations in Singapore have CCTV cameras installed. Today, there are about 6,000 cameras already in operation. These have been part of the SMRT's video surveillance project since 2004. With more than 1 million people riding the trains every day, these cameras are crucial to enhance safety and security at the stations.
CCTV recordings from about the time when Angeline arrived at the station was recalled and scrutinized. Among a stream of commuters, Angeline was spotted. She was being followed by a man wearing a dark sleeveless top and checkered Bermudas, the same kind of clothing the molester would don when he preyed on his victims.
This was taken at Admiralty Station on the 7th of March at 1502 hours. Now you compare with this. Same day at Block 762. Right? Taken at 1520 hours. Which means the suspect took 18 minutes to get there from Admiralty MRT Station.
From what I know, it's slightly more than a kilometer between these two locations. Sounds plausible to me.
Yes, and what's more, both the images are showing the same person.
With the image at hand, the next challenge for Io Norazmin would be who he was and where was his place of residence. Io Norazmin immediately reworked the taskings and reorganized his team for this challenge. The hard work paid off. Soon they narrowed down the doorstep molester as a 22-year-old Chan Wei Xiang, a student at a private school. Victims who had told police they could recognize their attacker were invited to a photo identification session.
That's him. He's the one who attacked me.
Are you sure?
Yes. He's here.
With the positive confirmation that Chan Wei Xiang was the culprit, Io Norazmin and his team were ready to arrest the bold doorstep molester.
I didn't do anything, I swear.
But we have witnesses.
You're lying.
I need to check your room.
Go ahead. Sir.
Are these yours?
Yes.
Wei Xiang, you're under arrest.
The clothings were found in the suspect's bedroom. They fit the description of those worn by the doorstep molester. Maria, the only victim who wasn't available to attend the earlier photo identification session with the investigation officer, was promptly invited to Jurong Police Station for an ID parade.
There. That's him. Number 4.
Number 4, one step forward.
Are you sure it's him?
Positive. That's him.
Wei Xiang, the victims have identified you to be the person who molested them. What do you have to say? Why did you do it?
I had a good relationship with my girlfriend. And then suddenly she left me. And when she left me, I felt very bored. How to teach these girls a lesson?
How do you choose your victims?
I mostly choose Chinese girls. Those that wear short skirts.
What did you do?
I follow them from the MRT to their doorsteps. And then when they are about to open the door, I go behind them and I touch them.
Chan Wei Xiang was found guilty on 12 charges of using criminal force with intention to outrage a person's modesty. He was sentenced to 26 months imprisonment and given 3 strokes of the cane.
Despite being elusive and changing his time of criminal act from nighttime to day, after the lookout notice was circulated to the community, the doorstep molester could not escape from the long arm of the law. Through perseverance and determination and the good information coming from the victims, Io Norazmin and his team of investigators from Jurong Police Division Headquarters were able to solve the case within 3 months. To avoid becoming a victim, Always be alert and attentive to your surroundings. If you suspect that you are being followed, don't panic. Stay calm. Proceed to the nearest location where there is a crowd or other people. Contact the police at 999 at the earliest opportunity. Avoid taking shortcuts, especially if the shortcuts are dimly lit and secluded. When coming home late at night, ask a family member to wait at the bus stop, car park, or lift landing to escort you home. Should you be molested, lodge a police report immediately. Provide details, distinct characteristics such as height and any unique features, and the clothing donned by the culprit will be helpful and useful for officers to solve the crime. Remember, holding off lodging a report may embolden the criminal. Finally, as important evidence may be left on the victim's clothing after an offence, where possible, it is recommended that clothing items not be washed so that it can be seized for evidence if necessary. If you find yourself in a similar situation as Chan Wei Xiang in this police file story, or if you know someone with such an inclination, do contact the following helplines. Take proactive steps for help before it's too late.
After the break, a mother makes her young daughter help her commit burglary.